Want to be an ally? Just ask. Just ask how you can support those of communities and identities that are different from yours. Fear often stands in the way of people wanting to express allyship in the workplace. And one of the challenges around that fear is that it's driven by an unknown. Well, how do we counter any unknown? We learn. So the main thing in order to be an effective ally is to learn the challenges of the groups and the communities that you are trying to support, to learn the ways in which support can feel like tokenism, to learn and ask the ways in which being ignored can feel. It's coming from a place of empathy and how might they feel, and not just from your own perception of that, but by clearly and frankly asking. And new research has really indicated that this is a huge challenge within organizations. Senior leaders and managers are afraid of being allies because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. We get it. We worry about the consequences of saying something inappropriate, the consequences of offending someone. But often ask yourself the question, is my fear of offending greater than my fear of not supporting? Of greater than my fear of losing valuable talent? And when you ask that question honestly, the answer should be that fear gets put in perspective. And once that fear is put into perspective, ask those of communities that are different from yours. And in particular, if you are in a position of privilege and power, something that you would first want to acknowledge, if you are in that position, ask either through an employee resource group, ask through relationships that you've established with people from varying identities and communities. Ask them how they want to be supported. What does support look like for them as a result of their identity or protected class? What obstacles might they be facing? And how could you potentially support that? And when I say potentially, if you are in the position of senior leadership within your organization, you can. And the reality is that's where we are struggling within implementing and integrating inclusion and equity within organizations. It is how do we engage senior leaders? How do we get the fears that are heard? How do we get those to be in the proper position to where the fear that is motivating them is the fear of losing and alienating strong talent? We want that to be the overriding fear, as opposed to the fear of not saying the right thing. We all know that when we have that twinge within us that says, oh, I'm not quite sure, and it often stifles us and silences us. Well, the antidote to that is connection, communication. Proximity alone does not solve the problem. And the onus of understanding the challenges of a marginalized group within your organization does not fall on that group. The onus falls on those individuals who have the ability to enact policies, culture change, and defining the ways in which the organization will work to ensure that those individuals are supported. So if you want to be an ally, just ask.